to the single "Because I Love You"?
The single "Because I Love You" went to #1 in America with Casey Kasem and all that. Proud to say that I was the engineer on that. It was 3 weeks in 1 year in 1990. It was #1 3 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100. And then 1 week into the next year, which is 91, which a lot of artists can't say that. Like, the only artist can say that they were 4 weeks at #1 is Madonna, Michael Jackson, artists of that,
Caliber.
caliber. You know what I mean? So Stevie really did a big accomplishment when he did that.
What other freestyle records did you work on in that era?
I did not too many freestyle records. Just like I said, Jaya. I did Jaya, um, Stevie B, Island Boy. I don't know if you remember Island Boy. He was another one under Stevie's label. Uh, I believe I did some with Debonair too. I believe did a lot of freestyle. I can't recall the names of them, but it was one girl and stuff like that. We did a lot of dance stuff.
Now, what was the drug of preference back in that day?
Oh, the drug of preference. We got to talk about drugs.
And I'm just asking
Well,
because
I don't know because I wasn't really into the drug scene.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean? A little weed, but I wasn't really into the drug scene. I did that when I was a kid, and I realized, when you're adult, you need to stop that shit and get serious about your life, or you go nowheres. But the drug of preference was definitely, I'd say, cocaine for the younger crowd. I believe a lot of the hip hop artists, dabbled in pills, a lot of weed, uh, but I would definitely say cocaine,
Okay.
you know.
Now, with Stevie B, what is did he ever do you wrong in regards to paying you and all that stuff?
No, I can't say. Stevie's been, he's done a lot of people shady, and people don't like him because of his arrogance. But Stevie's always took care of me. For my wedding, he hooked me up, what I mean, big time. He paid for my flights and stuff to my honeymoon. Stevie's been a brother to me. I broke his collarbone. He says I broke it, but we were racing four-wheelers, Banshees, and it was catch me, catch you, and I had caught him, and he was trying to catch up to me. So he comes flying by me, trying to catch me, and he hit a stump, and he flew up in the air, and it was incredible because my whole life stopped right there, and I was watching him like an astronaut
Wow.
float through the air. He fell one time right on his neck and his head, and literally bounced up about 6 foot again.
Nasty.
And now check this out. This is no lie. He pushed the bike away from him, and he landed right on his ass with his legs sitting out. He bounced like this and then stood straight up. Swear to God. And then he grabbed. He said, "I think my collar's broke, and damn if this bone wasn't split in half." And I told him, "Here, take my Banshee and go home." And he told everybody in Japan when he toured there, "Boo my engineer Jimmy Starr," because he had to perform with a cast on. So he used to boo me. You know what I mean?
Bad, man.
Yeah.
And we were talking a little earlier about how his technique of mixing his famous vocals.
Mhm.
Can you give us an inside secret on that?
Yeah, he liked to do a lot of layering. We had 24 tracks out at B-Land, and 23 of them would be his vocals. And, the rest, one track would be Simpty, and we would sync up all the virtual tracks of MIDI for the drums and stuff. We had giant mixing console. But yeah, he liked a lot of tracks. And he also liked, which was a great technique, which I think made him uh, famous, is he counter melodied stuff. He would do a melody and then sing a counter melody along with the melody, which was
And how would you mix his vocals? Like, not all of them would be up, right? You would probably use one main one.
yeah, yeah. You use one main one and you'd blend them back. You do. He did a lot of the blending. All right. He was very on top of things, and he was stern about keeping the vocals very loud. He always kept his vocals real loud, and that's radio, and that's what people should do,
And
for
who
radio.
kept the beats banging?
Glenn Gutierrez. Stevie made a lot of beats. Glenn Gutierrez was a phenomenal. He taught me how to program and edit a lot on the computer, and I taught him how to engineer. So we kind of traded off. He's phenomenal. That kid is just totally. I don't know if you know who he is, but he is phenomenal. Glenn Gutierrez.
And
And we
go
had
ahead.
six.
Go ahead.
We had six producers always running out there. Two studios, six producers. Dajjal Atabai was one. I forget the names of all of them, but Glenn was one. And they all had their own computers, their own condos down here. They were all from California, and we would have them write the songs in their condos. They would come to the studio. Stevie would say, okay, do this song, and I would set up the studios and be recording one person and programming and dumping music in another studio, and we'd be flip flopping studios like that back and forth. We had like a $500,000 studio, and then we had a $200,000 studio right next door, and it was a lot. We turned the barn into two studios and a three-bedroom condo on top of it. It used to be the barn. That was pretty funny back then, but a lot of fun back in the day.
Shindigs.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, he would call me. You see, I was on call. That's why he pulled me out of here. I was on call 24 hours, and he'd be out at his house and call me at 2 in the morning and say, "Come on, I want to," with Sanday, God rest her soul. Sanday was a big artist with Expose. He'd be out there with her, and at 2 in the morning say, "I want to record a Latin version of Because I Love You," or something like that. And I'd get there, and him and Sanday would be gone upstairs. So I'd have to sit there from 2 to 5, and then he'd come strolling out with Sanday at 5, and then we'd start recording. So
Wow.
that was, but it was well worth it. Well
I
worth
can
it.
imagine. And you've been here at Hideaway Studio for how many years?
30 years been at Hideaway Recording Studio.
And you,
30 years.
how is it?
Almost
comparing-
31. Yeah.
Cool. Now, can you give us a little bit more insight on how did you EQ and compress your kick drums to make those records so bottom heavy and that was a new thing for you, of course. So
Yeah.
how did you go into it?
Well, basically back in the day, like I said, at first we tried to figure out how LL Cool J and Run DMC and all them got it. But once we figured it out and they had SP 1200s, the 1200 you could slow down the sample. So what you would do is sample an 808, slow it down so it would be long and stretched out. And the 1200 had a filter if you pulled the cable out halfway. And it would filter out. And it just made this incredible knocking sound. And then when you compress that with a good compressor, and a lot of people would take the 808 and then put a knocking kick drum, like from an SP12 kick drum, and combine the two. So then you had your knock and your drop, and it was just enormous. It would just bang the house, incredible. Knock down walls.
And what did you use compared to digital software? What did you use back then?
Oh,
I
well.
guess you got some hardware gear there.
Yeah, I have an Avalon, and I have the Apogee converters. I have Pro Tools HD, but I use the Apogee converters. And Pro Tools HD, I love it, with the Mac Pro. And, I used to have a console. The console used to come out to here. It was a beast. I called it my tank. It was a CAD MaxCon. It was a beast. And, when it blew up, it finally just blew up. And I was like, I'm not going to spend $20,000 on another console when I can buy Pro Tools. And, I was hearing things that were coming from Avalons and HD that were just incredible. So I figured, I just might as well go for the Pro Tools thing. I was using Pro Tools LE with the console, with the Apogee. So I figured, I could do without the console, which in the long run benefited, I was very happy with the outcome.